Good morning, Philadelphia, and welcome to another great edition of Race on Main Street. You can visit us at raceonmain.com for all of our previous episodes. We have a great show today. Darrel Caston and Olivia Rodriguez from Nessa. What are you smiling at?
Because you want to do this so that I don't say anything.
Yeah, I don't want you to say anything because you keep interrupting and messing me up.
Just go ahead, tell them
about From Nessa Enterprises, where they're going to talk all about the home health care industry and the training that they provide to aides in the community. And they also train, as a great note to what they do, folks in Spanish. They have a whole Spanish-speaking curriculum. So stay tuned. Good morning, Philadelphia, and welcome to another great show of Race on Main Street. We have a very interesting show for you because it's one that hits home for Stuart and I. We have from Nessa Enterprises, a home health care agency. We have Darrel Caston and his associate, Olivia Rodriguez, who will be joining us shortly. But we just want to say, hey, welcome to the show. And for any of you who haven't seen any of our past episodes, you can always catch up at raceonmain.com. It's a great day in Philadelphia. We have a terrific show for you. Before we get started, I want to introduce my partner and my co-host and brother, Stuart Race. Stuart,
Scott, you haven't called me the side help lately.
The side help,
yeah.
But it's interesting. You were just saying you're like kind of sluggish today, feeling your age a little bit today.
I am feeling my age a little bit today. We had a very intense karate class last night, and it was more for the younger set than for me. And I was moving a little slow, and
now you're moving slower.
I haven't recovered yet.
Yeah, okay,
so
all right.
I'm just
it's warm in Philly today.
It's hot out there.
Yeah, it's hot yesterday too.
Yeah, it's sort of July hot. We're about a month ahead of schedule. You know.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of hoping for, a little
cool
bit
down.
cool.
Yeah, keep hoping. It's never happening.
I don't think so.
No,
Remember when there used to be spring?
No spring. You get like 2 days of spring, and you're like, wow, it's terrific.
It doesn't seem fair.
It's funny. I looked on our calendar the other day, and so my daughter Olivia, and son, but more Olivia than anybody, does not like the heat, not at all, nothing. So I look at the calendar because we're a few weeks actually out at this point from the beginning of summer, the actual official start to summer.
Just 2 weeks.
Just past Memorial Day, actually. So I see there's a little on the calendar in our kitchen. It's like sort of circled, and on the first day of summer, it says like "boo" on it, like boo-hoo kind of.
It's funny. Most kids really look forward to summer, but not Olivia. She doesn't like the heat.
No.
Well, I know. I think Abby told me yesterday that there's 8 days of school left, so she's counting down.
That's pretty good. Yeah, we have a few extra for which actually is helpful to us. So you groan about it during the winter, like, oh, why do they have these days off from school? But now it actually bridges the gap between the last day of school and summer activities.
Right.
Yeah, so it's pretty cool.
Well, Abby's a little older, so it's a little bit easier to kill that time. But
right, we're scrambling for babysitters at this point.
But speaking of summer activities, this is good segue, right?
Yeah, let's.
I have a Main Street is talking about. This week, and I got interested because I was reading Sports Illustrated, which I do on occasion, and there was an article in there about building new sports stadiums. Now, we went through this in Philadelphia about 13-14 years ago with the building of first the Link and then Citizens Bank Park, I think, opened for the 2003 season. So it's 13-14 years, and at that time, there's always a great controversy about public money for these things. So now, but when we built our new stadiums here in Philadelphia, it was because our old stadium was pretty much ready to fall down, okay? Well, apparently that's not the trend anymore. So I have 3 examples, 2 from Georgia and 1 from Texas. The Texas Rangers, their ballpark, which was actually, when it was originally built, it was actually called the Ballpark in Arlington. It was built in 1994. So this structure is barely 23 years old. Okay, it's not obsolete in any way, shape, or form. The park is similar in layout to Citizens Bank Park. It's similar in layout to Camden Yards. So, but it doesn't have a roof. It doesn't have a roof, and the Texas summers are hot. So they're gonna open up a new place in 2021, which is 5 years from now. It's going to cost $1 billion.
What?
But
say that. How much? $1
$1 billion to build this stadium that they're going to build. But here's the real thing that's going to fry your socks. Is that a thing? Fry your socks? $500 million.
Here first on Race on Main.
It's my new catchphrase.
Yeah, you are now the side help.
Fry your socks.
The side help will talk about frying your socks.
Half of that, $500 million, is going to be public money. Now,
so here's the thing, and I know you do this because it rattles me up a little bit.
Fries your socks.
It fries my socks, if that's an expression. It's sort of a bit of a catch-22. The ballparks bring in a lot of revenue.
Right.
Okay, so while it's public money, there's a lot of money that's generated for the public. All those jobs that need to be filled, really all the right. So
museums, the hotel stays.
That's right. All that kind of stuff. Now, my question is, and we've talked about this once before, and I got the statistics from somebody at the art museum, at the Philadelphia Art Museum. They had said that, and this is based on their statistics, it came from the CFO, and he said that the art museum brings in more money than all the sports teams combined. If that's the case, doesn't it make more sense to now that's in Philadelphia, doesn't it make more sense to plow more money into that than use public money for that if it's going to be more profitable to the
community?
They don't.
Apparently, though, when you go to build an art museum, people step up and
complain.
Well, no, it's a group of wealthy people, or if there is some type of public thing where you can get your name on the wall for $250, you'll do that also.
Right.
But this is these are private businesses. The Texas Rangers are a private business. The other two are both the Atlanta teams, the Braves and the Falcons. Both are getting new stadiums. They're a little bit less. The Braves are getting one. It's going to cost $300 million for the public, and the Falcons are getting one, $600 million for the public. But neither of those stadiums are even 20 years old that are being replaced.
It doesn't make any sense to me. And the reason why it doesn't make any sense to me is I don't get any kind of tax break like that. So the owners of those teams, it's essentially to me like a tax break.
Yeah.
They get to have.
But you also don't run a quasi-public entity.
No, I understand that. I understand that. But I mean, these guys are private. If somebody wanted to sell the Atlanta Falcons, some person is going to make a lot of money from doing that on the public's back.
And I think what these guys do is they probably have all kind, and I'm sure the NFL and the Major League Baseball and the NBA, when it's the NBA, I'm sure they're involved also. I'm sure they have economists who are willing to sign off on reports that tell how much the return is going to be on this investment. So
I got a good idea. Let's look at the profits of those companies.
Split them up.
And send a little stipend to every resident in the city of Atlanta.
Well, apparently that only happens in, I think Green Bay is and the Boston Celtics are the two sports teams that you can buy, they're openly traded.
Right.
You don't really. It's not.
I know. You don't have any say.
Right.
Right.
But you can say that I make money when the Celtics make money, or when the Green Bay Packers make money. But that's
it's kind of interesting.
So that's what Main Street's talking about today, is how much money they're spending on stadiums. But another thing that Main Street.
Wait a second. I have another question.
We're
one last thing, and then because we do want to get to the guests, are what about, for example, Comcast building? They employ an awful lot of people. They bring an awful lot of revenue in here. If they wanted to build a building in the middle of Center City, who's paying for that?
Comcast. Yeah, no, look.
There's the answer.
You're not giving.
No, I know.
You're preaching to the choir. I mean,
no,
I'm a great fan of and I'm a big football fan and a big baseball fan, and I like these other sports. But yeah, I have never understood why a privately owned company should expect, because now it used to be a controversy.
Right.
Should we, shouldn't we?
Now it's just how much am I getting?
Right. Now it's expected that the public is going to kick in.
And that's why it should be stopped at this point. And then you know what ends up happening? Like every other business, it gets passed off on the consumers that want to enjoy those events.
Right.
So I might not want to go see a sporting event, so why should I have to cover the cost of the stadium?
It's funny, we're going to touch on that on our way out also, because we have some interesting information about that. But coming in, we're going to have today's guests are, as you say, Darrel Caston and Olivia Rodriguez. They are with the company Nessa Enterprises, home health aid training. These people are involved in professional career development in the home health care arena. So when we come back, We're going to welcome Darrel and Olivia, and we certainly have some good questions for them.
So welcome Darrel Caston and Olivia Rodriguez. Thanks for joining us. We appreciate you coming down here.
Thank you for having us. Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Stu.
Yeah, no, it's great. So Darrel's here from, why don't you tell us all, Joe Nessa.
The name of the company is Joe Nessa Enterprise, and the reason I named it that was I had a 3.5-year-old brother who passed away from cancer, but most recently I had a 36-year-old sister who was also diagnosed with cancer, and she had hospice care. And in seeing the care and compassion that was given to my sister kind of changed my views on the home health care industry, and I wanted to do something to make a difference, and that's how I came about the name.
Oh, that's great. So it's named after your brother, your late brother and late sister.
Correct.
The question that I have for you, were you involved in home health care prior to that? Or was it something that as a result of these events that you said, hey, I got to really take a hold on this. I want to be a part of it.
Well, at the time of my sister relocating down here to Pennsylvania, Philadelphia, and her being in that situation, I was working for what we call an EARN center. I was working with women that were on TANF, predominantly women anyway. And I was an employment specialist. And I started to link them with opportunities within the employment sector. And what I realized was that the home health aid industry, the CNA industry, which is the certified nursing industry, was a very large and demanding industry. So it kind of played into the relationship that I had with my sister in home health that she received, and now working with women, placing them in this particular industry.
Oh, that's interesting. So you're here with a friend, a colleague, Olivia Rodriguez. So, Olivia, how do you play into all of this?
Well, I am a registered nurse. I teach for our program. I teach home health aides, and we get them certified. We do an 80-hour training, and when they complete the training, they actually receive a certificate.
So I have a question about that.
Hey, how you doing?
You know what, just sit
I'm
there
good.
and you'll be fine, okay? I'll take care of
rolling.
everything.
You're rolling.
Yeah.
It's good stuff.
Yeah, you know what, earlier you said that you're like...
You said the socks are on fire.
Yeah.
I'm good.
You said,
good.
Hey, look, I'm feeling my age.
It's your show,
so
man.
You know what,
it's your
have
show.
a seat, sit back,
I'm fine.
I'll take care of everything.
That's good. Oh, look at that.
So that's right. Oh, that's my name. So you talked about home health care and in that industry, taking care of folks, certifying people, things like that. So how does that all work? Like, so when you talk about a certificate of some sort, is that something that is like a certificate from the state or from your how you train folks? Like, how does that all work?
Well, Pennsylvania has a requirement and a standard for being a home health aide in the state of Pennsylvania. And they require that you have 75 hours of home health aide training, and that breaks into two portions. One is 16 hours of practical training, which Olivia is very good at as far as patient transfer, learning peri-care, learning range and motion, and personal hygiene. And the other 59 hours are dedicated to curriculum work. So that's how we get to the 80 hours. We actually give 80 versus the 75. We want to make sure that our students or our candidates are well prepared to go into people's homes and give the proper service that we train them in. We also go a little step further. We give job readiness training also, where we teach them how to, decorum once you get inside the homes, how to interview for these positions. We also do resume development with them who might not have a resume. We'll actually start to structure one for them, or if they do, we'll update the one that they currently have. We also offer CPR training, that is cardiopulmonary resuscitation training, where they would learn to do basic life-saving skills. And on top of that, we do job placement with them. I have a relationship with several agencies within the surrounding area, Montgomery County, Philadelphia, Delaware County, and then we start to extend these trained staff to these employers so that they can have the professional help to go inside these homes, because in reality it's really about community. It's really about keeping people in their homes. I know a lot of elderly people that their sons and daughters could win $50 million in the lottery, and that person doesn't want to leave their home to move to Florida or to California. So in saying that, I really think there's a need to put the proper help inside these homes to where it cuts back on, I believe, the healthcare industry. It takes a strain off of that. If people are healthy and happier in their homes, they're less likely to be sick. They're less likely to go into elder care facilities, which in some cases can be uncomfortable for them because it's a detachment from the norm for them.
Sure.
So Olivia, what she does is she prepares our students, because on top of just doing basic home health aid training, we've added another component to what we do, and that is we do bilingual training. We not only train the English-speaking home health aid candidate, we train the Latin-speaking home health aide candidate that wants to go into these homes, because we understand that the United States is a very fast-growing country as far as people coming in from Latin America, coming in from the Middle East, coming in from just about everywhere. So we decided that this was something that needed to be done, that a Latin family should have the same advantages of an English-speaking family.
So I have one question, and then we're gonna jump into that in a second. Okay, you don't worry.
Sitting.
Yeah, I know you're sitting waiting for your cue to jump in. You talked about 80 hours. Is that broken out over the course of 2 weeks, a month? Like how long, if I want to be a home health care aide certified, I start on day one,
Correct.
When am I ready to go?
I'm gonna let Olivia handle that question.
So,
She does the training.
The training is actually 80 hours, so we have them come in and that is completed over 2 weeks. It's 2 weeks and 3 days.
All right, so you do like a regular, basically like regular work weeks, you know,
Yes.
fit
Correct.
some lunch in there kind of thing, and then you're ready to go.
There is a lunch. There is a
Yeah.
lunch. And we do day and evening. We offer our services to a working class and also a student class. So we want to make it so that anybody can make it to our school. So we offer daytime hours, that's from 9 to 2:30, and then we offer evening hours from 5 until 9:30 p.m. in the evening.
Great. So it's
Yes.
accommodating to everybody.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. We understand that some of the folks that we actually train work in the healthcare division, but are not certified. So
Right.
what we do is we add to their employment potential.
It's great. Spanish?
Actually, could I ask, I have an interest in this, and I have a question.
Well, hurry up and
before
ask
we
a
get
question.
before we get to the Spanish. In terms of the Main Street construct, you touched on keeping people in their homes. Could you expand on that as how that affects the public?
Well, what I mean by that is, no matter what community you live in, whether it's North Philadelphia, whether it's Montgomery County, whether it's Delaware County, we're all aging day by day. And there is a need to have quality home health in these homes so that people will not be displaced. So we're not just here to service any one particular region, any one particular race of color. We're here to service the home health aid industry as a whole, to keep people in their homes no matter what their social status is, what their economic status is. We're here to provide the service for anyone who wants to remain in their home, want to be secure, want to wake up in their own bed, cook in their own kitchen, and as a matter of fact, watch TV or in their own living when they're watching Race on Main.
There you go. But from a Main Street perspective, then what you're doing is you're helping to keep the strain off of public and institutional facilities.
Correct.
So that's what the underlying plan is here, is to keep people out of those facilities. If
That's
you can.
correct, but there's
because
another-
it saves money.
But there's another benefit to it.
And what's that?
The folks that we do employ and train, we limit the requirements that they have to do this, because all we require is that they have a compassionate, caring way about them. What I mean by that is a high school diploma is not relevant to take our course. To speak English is not relevant to take our course. We give basic questions to make sure you're qualified to do the work. But once you become one of Olivia's students, I'm of the full belief that you will get the complement of services and training that you need to do your job successfully. So we try to make it where we're going to help the lower income folks strive for something better, and also take care of the people that are living in their homes to make sure that they get the proper care. So that's what I think kind of differentiates us from some of the other training courses out there. I don't know very many others that do bilingual, I should say Latin training, so that's something we pride ourselves in. And of course, having Olivia is a blessing, because Olivia is bilingual and she does do that too.
So not only are you keeping people in their homes, but you're creating jobs for people who don't necessarily have the skills, not the skills, but haven't had the luck or the background to become, an engineer or something like that you're creating middle class job opportunities.
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, I'd even go one step further to say that some of the population that we service, and I have to be specific to say our Latino population that don't speak English, to see them receive that certificate and some level of achievement it's mind-blowing to see the reaction. Because we actually have a closing ceremony where we bring the families in and give out the certificates, and it is just a blessing to see how they feel about themselves. Now you can almost see a change in their whole disposition, their attitude. And Olivia being the person she is, we actually had a young lady, And not to single her out, but we had a young lady that Olivia taught 2 classes ago that was hearing impaired. She lived in a world of complete silence, and Olivia was able to get her through with a 90 on her skills and a 90 on her written tests. And we are very proud of the work that we did with that young lady, and of course, she went on to her employment.
That's wonderful. So you're providing jobs, you're saving the institutional money by keeping people in their homes.
Correct.
And you're capable of accessing the Latino community. Olivia, tú dices español.
Yeah.
Sí, claro.
So that's about the extent of my Spanish. But could you give a message to our Spanish-speaking audience in terms of what we're saying here?
Para la comunidad hispana, quería decirle que el programa de nosotros es muy especial y no es mucho tiempo. El programa es 80 horas. Se puede hacer en poco tiempo y también no cuesta mucho.
Great.
Ay caramba.
Okay. It's a first for us here in Race on Main,
absolutely.
but it's an interesting piece that you talk about. And one of the things I want to address, and it's kind of interesting, and this is a little bit, but I want to show the benefit of this industry, because you hear about, and especially in election year, where the state is spending money. Pennsylvania still doesn't have a budget at this point. You hear about where the state and the federal government is spending money, and people think, oh, well, why would the federal government spend money on helping people stay in their home? Why would the state do that? And the reason is, and we talked about it, is because despite what that cost might be, it's a lot less expensive when all these folks show up at the emergency room, which is very, very expensive. So like from a service standpoint in the community, it's actually an incredible service and a money-saving service. Because when people don't know what to do, where do they go? They go to the emergency room. Very often that's where they go.
That's correct.
So it's not a drain on the state or on the federal government. It's actually a huge savings compared to what would take place. So it's an incredible program overall.
Yes.
So let's be clear also that it's not simply, you're not simply providing people that sort of give companionship. It goes beyond that, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. Yes,
And
it does.
can you expand on that?
Oh yes, the training within the 80 hours, as I said, they will learn things as pericare, how to do cleaning a person's body. They will learn to do range and motion as far as a person that might be bedridden, to try to get them back to some sort of functional, day in their lives. Also, she does proper meals. We want to make sure that our people are fed well and healthy enough. So it has a lot of benefits to it. And once again, it takes the strain off, because I think at one point statistically, Pennsylvania was only second to Florida in their elder care facilities. I believe that's large here in Pennsylvania. People tend to live pretty long lives in Pennsylvania. Florida, because of the weather, might be a little better easier on the body. But that's another reason why I did it. I understood that the state of Pennsylvania does have a large contingency of elder care. As a matter of fact, in my work with the welfare to work programs, I should say the EARN centers, I work with a lot of facilities, elder care facilities, and I could see the strain that was put on one person to care for 13 during the course of a shift. That one CNA had to handle these many cases. How could you possibly give the quality of care
So
that a person
so it's
went to
not
need?
just by keeping people in their homes, we're not just saving money, we're also increasing the quality of care. Is that correct?
Absolutely. I can say I'm living proof of that. My mother has a home health aide. My mother's home health aide, my mother receives 7 days a week, 8 hours a day. My mother has not been hospitalized in the last 3 years since receiving this home health aide person. This person has become an intricate person in her daily lifestyle, where this person is pretty much a family member at this point. And it's because of the training, and I feel proud of it because it has something to do with the training of the person that cares for my mother. Mm-hmm. So what I do out of love, and I also do to help our communities to be stronger, keep people around longer, and keep the system under less stress here. We're dealing with this Obamacare and all this stuff here. Sure. Let's try to get away with health care, period. Yeah. Nobody needs it anywhere.
Let's talk about the Latin community. You're providing jobs for people, and the language barrier is being erased.
Right. So you're correct. The language barrier is being erased. A lot of times they do come back and they do say like they're grateful that they were able to get a job. In any other instance, they said if they would take any other program, they wouldn't be able to have any translations. So it really does help.
Is it a circumstance where the Latin community is like any other community, they're aging? just the same way any other
Right.
community is. So are you finding that by training people from the Latin community, you're also accessing consumers that need this kind of service in the Latin community?
They probably weren't getting it prior to that. So if there weren't Latin speaking or as many home care aides or CNAs, now all of a sudden you have people who are maybe in the emergency room in those facilities, and now they have the same benefits that anybody else would have. It works both ways for the employment side and the people being cared for side.
Absolutely, and that's the main reason why Joe Nessa leaned towards doing a bilingual training, because I do have a friend that works at the airport, and she actually tells me, she says when folks come in from the Dominican or from Puerto Rico, that some of those folks do come in on wheelchairs. So they're coming right from their country without any, English training. So who's going to care for that person? Everybody that's elderly doesn't have to speak English, so what do we do? And like I say, that population of folks that we bring in to actually train and place in these homes, the level of appreciation that we get from them after they've completed these 80 hours is immense. I get so much joy from that, I would actually do this program for free from the reaction that we get from these folks. But of course, our program is very affordable.
Yeah,
We
that's
make it
good,
very
right.
affordable.
It has to be something,
Very
right,
affordable.
that for Main Street America, it's something that makes sense. And actually, as I've looked at and we're gonna wrap up in a few minutes, I looked at what the overall expenses are, and compared to the other places out there for training, college, things like that, it's a very nice middle-class wage for something that's reasonable. And by that, I mean there's a lot of value in that. It's certainly worth it. There's
So the return on investment
is pretty
for
nice.
for the student
Correct.
is makes it a worthwhile pursuit.
That's right. So if anybody wants more information, they can always go to Joe, Nessa, NESSA.com for lots of information that's there. And for anybody who wants immediate information or an email or wants to talk to any of the folks at Joe Nessa Enterprises, you can email, really you'll be emailing Olivia, and it's Olivia, RN07@gmail.com. So it's Olivia, OLIVIARN07@gmail.com.
07.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Let me state that again. Olivia RN07@gmail.com. And it'll be on the screen so you
Se
can see
habla
it.
español.
Yep. And there you go.
There you go.
Thank you.
Thank you both for joining us. It was exceptionally informative. As in all cases, we'll have to have you back at some point
You
to
will.
follow up and find out what's going on with Joe Nessa in the future.
We can't wait to return. We
Yeah,
can't wait.
thanks for being here.
Thanks very much.
Yeah,
Thank you very much.
Have a
Stay
seat
with
though.
us, stay with us. Yeah,
We're not finished yet. We got
it.
Stu's gonna.
I'm ready for the next episode.
Well, here we go. Here's what's going to happen. In bouncing back to the beginning of the show when we were talking about the stadiums and how much they cost, what we did was we researched what are the most expensive sporting events. How much does it cost to go to some of these? A single ticket.
What do you mean, to like throw the event, or for you to go as a
No,
consumer?
for you to go as a consumer.
Okay.
And a single ticket I remember when I was a kid, you could go to a Phillies game, you could sit in the yellow seats if you got there after the first inning for $3. Okay, now those days are gone. It goes beyond saying, what do you think is the most expensive sporting event? I mean, obviously, internationally, you have, the Grand Prix and the World Cups and things like that. But this blew me out of the water. For a Yankees game, any old Yankees game, Tuesday night against the Twins.
Right.
Okay. They have things at Yankee Stadium that they call the Legend Suites.
Right.
So if you want a Legend Suite at Yankee Stadium, you got to buy 122 tickets, because that's how many people go in the suite, at $2,500 per. It costs $915,000
For the one suite.
for the one suite,
Well, so
for the one game.
My question is, though, if you forget that, okay, because that's obviously beyond the scope of
can't even
reasonable anything.
Right.
What for just a regular ticket? Did you look up like the regular ticket price
To go to a Yankees
Yeah, like
game?
if I want to sit in
You're not taking a family of four to a Yankees game for less than $500.
See, that's the thing. You talk about Main Street America. It's no longer who can afford that?
Well, this is all rich people stuff here.
Everybody, Race on Main. You can check us out at raceonmain.com. Thanks for watching. We'll see you out on Main Street, everybody. Have a great day. Thank you.
Yes.
We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Great.